See the time being 6:03, like I call this Osterville Library meeting, Osterville Association meeting for water. Thank you all for coming, appreciate it. But, first thing, any questions on the secretary's report? Seeing none, take a motion to approve the secretary's report. Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Secretary's report is approved. Treasurer's report, Al.
Okay, there are three accounts that we have here. Our mini account, our checking account fund, this is the time of year. They're visiting Cape Cod, you always know that mid-March to mid-May is always a big budget crunch there. In terms of that free cash to the local, so there we are now, so we have $761 in our checking account. Our Robert Smith fund is the fund that we use for all our donations, community activities. That's $18,609.31, and we also have a money market funded Vanguard, $3,074.55. So all told, about $23,000 between the three accounts. And nothing's owed, no bills sitting on anything, so here we are.
Thank you, Al. Any questions for Al? Seeing none, get a motion to approve the various report. Second. All those in favor? Various report is approved. Cindy, will be here report.
Hi, we continue to be collecting dues for our new fiscal year, and that has been coming in very well, happy to say. The brochure, I had a copy here somewhere, I don't know what I did with it, the 2/26/27 brochure that we do with everybody's listing is at the printers now, and we're having several thousand printed up that'll be around and be available probably in the next 3 weeks. And they're in red, white, and blue in honor of the 250th and the 100th anniversary of POM. And we also got a $500 grant from the town to help subsidize the printing on that. Planning is underway for our annual meeting of the OBBA, which is on June 4th. Mark Ells, the town manager, will be speaking. We're also working on participation in the parade. The permit has been sent into the town. I did mention to them today that it's stuck at the town manager level and would like to get it moving through. Everything else has been moving forward on it. We're actively getting people lined up for the day and the parade. Still trying to reach back from people. We are always looking for volunteers that want to help out with the parade or different things throughout the village. On the website in digital format, still learning the back end of the website and doing well trying to manage our membership and getting things added to the calendar. So all the stores and if they're having sales or trunk shows or photography or events going on, the OVA meetings, all that'll be on one central calendar for Osterville so people can find things. So hopefully getting people to add to that. And I don't know if anybody knows, in the village, 2 stores are new. Candyville is new, and Fête de Flowers moved over where Twigs was. So it's nice to have more retail in the village. And the planters, as I mentioned, it was done by Beacon Gardens with the nice pansies, and we hope anybody can water them that sees them. And we also, the Osterville bags, we've ordered 200 of the Osterville bags. That's all of us left with the blue trim to have those for sale for the summer season. And that is it right now. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Cindy. Appreciate it. Town council's report. Don.
Yeah, we're pretty much just wrapping up most of the town budget going forward. Right now I'm on 2 committees that will be very busy in the next few months, which is the zoning and regulatory committee and also the appointments committee. We really need volunteers for some of our town boards and town offices. Not offices, but town boards. And so if anybody's interested in, you know, we got planning board, we got historical commission, all kinds of stuff. But we need some people that are local to get out and hopefully have a good mix of people going forward. So if anybody's interested, let me know. And it's not that big a pull. Usually you'll do it every couple of weeks, and for about an hour, hour and a half, and it helps us to move forward with our agenda. So other than that, I don't have much going on now. Any questions? Oh, glad to entertain.
So I have a question. Last meeting, we talked about the deadline for playground bids, April 19th.
Yes.
Do you know how many bids we, the town
I
got?
don't know yet. They've been saying that they're ready to get going, and I see they're working on the Centerville playground. They'll have to get back to me.
Just curious. How,
Yeah, it's imminent, so it's just getting going and then choosing one, so I'll call Mr. Marinaccio tomorrow. Let's see what.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John. Appreciate everything that you do also. Old business, scholarship application. Back,
So we have, the deadline was, the second, that Saturday, and we have, 2 applications in here. Which is not that unusual, we've had a number of years, we've had 2. So I'll be distributing those to our group to review. And, then we will select our, recipient.
so you're gonna send those around by email?
Yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send you a link.
Okay.
I could attach them, but I'll send you a link to, it'll be actually password check.
Okay.
So I'll send you, you get the link, and then the next email will have the password. I send them out separately. So you click on the link and we'll have access to it. It's 2 very impressive applications. So, see.
Chuck, when do we decide on that? Or is that,
Well, I think we probably should set a committee meeting and do that if I can. Why don't I send out some dates by email? Okay. And to the group, then we can ascertain a mutually agreeable date. So you'll have the applications to read, the committee will have the applications to read. We meet or each side.
I think we usually make sure that's done before the OBA and one.
Correct.
We have about a month.
Yeah, so I would say we could probably meet sometime next week. Try to make the decision next week, so we give us ample time to notify the recipient.
great, thank you, Chuck. Still in the old business, maybe Suzanne, if you want to give us a brief
Yeah.
update on.
Really brief, I did talk with Mr. Els to ask if Avangrid Renewables had any further conversation with the town about starting New England Wind 1 construction at Craigville Beach. And our belief is if New England Wind 1 doesn't get built, Dowses Beach is safe. New England Wind 2 will not get built. That's our belief. He said that they have not had any conversation with the town about planning to come on to Craigville Beach and start the massive construction project and go right through Centerville Village. I'm thinking there's no way they'll start this fall. They just can't ramp up and, do this without conversing with the town. I mean, I think you might agree with that, right?
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing, Hector actually had an email from one of the town attorneys saying quite a while ago, Hector, that they couldn't guarantee starting that project by October 26th. So I think if they're still thinking about building those 2 projects at Craigville and Dowses, they're not even thinking about starting them this year. That's my surmise. I don't know if you.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, so, and then on the larger front of our concerns, the thing that's been happening that's really capturing our interest is that Vineyard Wind has sued the contractor who has built all the turbines out there that have the 2 cables running into Covell Beach that are somewhat operational, and I've been saying that the interesting thing about that happening, I'm sorry, I should back up. GE Renewables is the contractor who built the things and they want to walk away. They said they're all built up, we're leaving. And Vineyard Wind said you can't because there's so many problems with them. including bearings that they don't feel will hold up, including blades that are still problematic, including the fact that the cables that go between the turbines into the electrical service platforms trip and the things shut off. They can't get more than 13 or so, it seems, running at any given moment. And which kind of belies these claims coming out of Boston that, oh, they're supplying 300,000 homes. Well, you need at least 450 megawatts to do that, and they can barely muster 100. Right now, each turbine has produces about approximately 13 megawatts of electricity. So it's a really interesting way to see really what's going on out there, because they've really, pulled the shade down on it. They don't want to talk to the public about it. But we continue with our EMF monitoring project. We are seeing still very, very elevated levels of electromagnetic fields coming off the two Covell Beach cables, even though they're at a low level of production. So we've let the town know about that. We've let the state know about that. The state doesn't want to even talk to us about it. So, but we'll continue monitoring it.
You want to mention the Board of Health meeting?
Oh, certainly. On May 24th, we are going before the Board of Health, who's been given public comment access, and we're going to we have two physicians on our committee, and they're going before the Board of Health, which is great because most of the people on the Board of Health are doctors themselves. And one of the physicians will update the board on a recent study done in Sweden that included 3.5 million people being exposed to EMF at a regular level, 2.5 milligauss. We're reading like 219 milligauss on occasion, right? And this study showed that exposure, constant exposure, 24/7, 365 to EMF leads to some really serious health complications, including mortality, based on things like cancer, Parkinson's disease, and dementia. So she's going to talk about that. One of our members found this study, and it's a very recent peer-reviewed study. And our other friend, Dr. Gary Peters, is going to talk to them about what the Massachusetts Association of Boards of Health say about their authority over infrastructure in residential neighborhoods. And this fellow, he's great. He went to Somerset, Mass, and he said, "You are not powerless. The Board of Health has a lot to say and a lot of, authority over these sorts of things." And so Dr. Peters has been in touch with him, and Gary will talk with the Board of Health about their authority. We happened to be at a big event in Worcester. Gary and we ran into a member of the Board of Health who actually said, "I think your presentation will be well received." So that was encouraging. But anyway, that's, we keep going. We meet every other week now. Thanks to the library for allowing us a space to meet. They have 4 years, which is very generous of them. So that's it.
Now, does the state have a Department of Health that will supersede the governor's decisions?
I don't think the Department of Health would supersede Maura Healy, but I don't know the answer to that. I know that there is a Massachusetts, DPH. Don't know if they would get involved. If our local Board of Health said, "Well, wait a minute, now you're still talking about 2,800 megawatts of electricity going through our residential neighborhoods, 20 miles worth of duct bank. Maybe we want to, put a hand up and say that's not, something we want to see happen." We'll see what happens. I'll report back in June. But thank you for reminding me. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. Excellent. And you've been, you started this 4 years ago. It's amazing how it's evolved, and it's, they keep saying these small groups, you get together, what an impact it can have. You have everyone's attention.
Thank you. Stacy Gunther was my co-founder, and we talk all the time. I about how long it's been. It's been a very long time fighting this. It's kind of ruined my retirement, tell you the truth. But it keeps me young, right?
Just a comment on the EMFs. I know some of us might have been there one of the meetings, I believe it was at the community college. And they had the group from Boston was up on the stage, you take it up and talk. And anyways, the EMF came up and Dr. Bettiga was in Osterville. He got up and spoke and he had like 12 different things that could be health concerns based on EMF. And that was really, before everyone was talking about EMF, that was eye opening. And I don't know if he would, he's a pretty private person, but whether he would be approachable to reinforce.
What we're doing on May 24th, that's a great idea. It's a great idea.
May 24th is.
Yeah, about the.
Oh, it's not the 24th.
June.
I don't remember the exact date.
Maybe the 26th. It's a date. I know I'm sorry. Anyway, it's not May 24th, but it's that week. So yeah, that's a great idea. I love that idea.
I'll reach out to him and just see if, again, he's a private person, but see if he'll put something in front of the actual.
That would be awesome. Yeah, and Tom McKean is our Director of Public Health. Of course, he reports to the Board of Health and he was fabulous when I reached out and I said, we'd really like to go before the board again. Right away, he set us up. So yeah, we appreciate that.
Again, thank you, Suzanne.
Yeah.
If we have anything else on the whole business.
I didn't want to make people aware, the town DPW, Chris God, reached out and they're holding a public informational meeting here at the library about regarding the raised crosswalks. And that will be on Monday, May 18th from 6 to 7 p.m. They want to use this main meeting room because they assume attendance will be around 50+ people. So
Great.
I don't know if anybody need that.
Wow.
Just to.
Suzanne, your email said it was,
I'm looking, I don't
was
have
May 26th.
May 26th. That's a Tuesday.
That's the email from
Okay.
Tom McKean.
Thank you. It's May 26th.
Chris is gonna talk about the speed bumps.
It's Chris Goodell, right?
Chris Gadd, GADD.
Yeah.
No, Ganella's recreation. No, it's okay.
Is it giving info or getting info? What do you know?
It's an hold a public informational meeting about upcoming project regarding raised crosswalks.
You think we could get some flyers made for the storefronts and put it out on the bulletin board so that people want regularly at the meetings?
I'll reach out to him and see if he's got any more information he can provide that we can put into something.
Put it on the website or.
Yeah, we'll put it on the
Yeah,
website.
The more the merrier.
So, good point, John. Okay, thank you, everyone. New business. You have any?
Have any new business, anyone?
Steve, right? Public comment.
Come on, Ray. I was just sort of thinking of the wind and everything, and what about Maura Healy? She's still sitting, so really pushing wind all over the place in the news all the time.
Yeah, she's tripled down.
Seven. Yeah, well, she
You say in the Kool-Aid.
they say would save $7 billion to ratepayers. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see.
It's not gonna save money.
I know, but she's still hot on this bandwagon. I don't think it's. Well, she goes. I mean.
Well, not only that, we heard there was a party meeting, I think down here on the Cape that Ed Markey attended. And he talked for 5 minutes on the fact that he and Keating are going to add an addendum to the reconciliation bill that will restore all the tax credits. This will interest you, Hector, that were taken away under the big beautiful bill. And that made all of these projects, the financing of these projects almost impossible. They need those tax credits in order to afford to do what they want to do. So, what I heard was Markey was so enthusiastic. We're building wind farms. We don't care. And Maura Healy's done the same thing. She's really doubled down on it, but she has started talking about new nuclear. I write about it all the time, online, that it's really the small modular reactors should power the data centers. If you want to build a data center, you bring your own, power. Put a small modular reactor there. And then the AP1000 Westinghouse plant that's getting built all over the country could power the grid. And now you have, dispatchable energy that is renewable and affordable and pretty clean compared to what they're doing out in the ocean. And so I think she's moving toward that, but when it comes to wind, she's not backing down. Offshore wind is still her baby.
Suzanne, has anyone heard of a data center being built in Massachusetts?
Yes, there is one that they built right in the neighborhood in one of those.
It's
Towns
been
up-
built already?
No, it's there, yeah,
Where
and
is
they built it, the walls that shield these things are so massive. And they built it right at abutting a neighborhood in one of the less prosperous towns up there on the New Hampshire border, like, that. And I read this big article and I was so shocked what this has done to a neighborhood. So there's at least one in Massachusetts. But they do suck a lot of power, and that's why this whole thing about electricity is happening because of AI and data centers.
I can say a little something about that. I don't say anything about wind because of my work, but I can say a little something about this because it's public. On the data center side, there's been massive growth in the PJM region, which is like Maryland, New York, over. New England, our ISO New England just accelerated their forecast of projected data centers, large load. And it's only a couple hundred megawatts-ish, like looking out in the near term. So I think New England has a nice opportunity to kind of learn from other regions that have been overwhelmed by data centers in terms of setting up rules to make sure that people like you are protected from large load.
Yeah.
And then FERC just put out an order saying we're coming out in June with something. So I think the regions now will start to sort out their rules.
Yeah,
But I do think, this is public information, not my view, that New England's sort of fortunate to be able to benefit from low growth and the experience of the other regions.
yeah, and some of the states are doing exactly what I mentioned, they're telling these data centers to bring their own,
Yeah.
and the small modular reactor is about the size of a container pulled by a truck, so they're not really big plants. And we're not learning lessons at all, and we're not putting an energy policy together that makes sense for Massachusetts and the climate, right? I mean, the climate is a big thing. I was so angry on February 4th, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk all this time, but on February 4th, Healy was at the podium with the premier of Quebec, I guess, if that's what you call him. They were announcing that Quebec wants wind farms up there to be built, and they're gonna sell the electricity to Massachusetts, and she said Vineyard Wind is currently powering 300,000 homes. And this was in February 4th, and then we find out 3 weeks ago, not only were they can barely get that offshore wind farm running, right? So it's just, I just feel like I can't trust what the folks in charge are saying anymore at all.
Most of us were without power in February. anyway.
Exactly. Powering all the homes, but Osterville and Centerville, right?
One thing that I worry about though is like you say that, we're not hearing anything locally from New England Wind.
Yeah,
Because of that relationship with the governor. I would be concerned that they're just going direct. And, making all their plans
Yes.
and we'll be the last to know.
And
At the
shadows.
first, in the shadows, because that, my understanding anyway is that state authorities can trump the local authorities anyway.
well, now they can because they completely redid siting and permitting to cut the towns and
Right.
cities and towns out.
So I would, as you are, continue keeping your ear to the ground, because I don't trust the current situation. Just because you're not hearing anything doesn't mean there's talking to.
Yeah. That's quite true.
Suzanne, do you think they're just kind of laying low until the political stage changes?
A couple of reasons, I think. I think financing's a big issue for them. I think the trouble with Vineyard Wind is not encouraging Avangrid Renewables to start the next project. And thirdly, Hector said this all along, they're waiting for Trump to be out of office. Thinking that someone else will be far more amenable to offshore wind. It's like a bunch of things.
Just a question, where does that lawsuit stand now with GE too? Is there any
So they had their first hearing on May 1st. And GE Renewables came out and said, they're telling us we have to go back because it doesn't work. But they just, activated their power purchase agreements with the state, so it's working fine. So the judge was, I think, a little mystified by this, so he set a next hearing on May 12th. And he wants to hear the full arguments on both sides on May 12th. His first, they asked, GE Renewables asked that the temporary injunction against them walking away would be overturned, and he declined to do that. They also asked that they move to arbitration, and he's not ready to do that until he hears both sides fully. So they'll be back in court on May 12th, and I'll be listening. You can go, I didn't know this, you can go onto the Massachusetts court system and actually buy for $10 the audio of all these actions. It's really cool.
Can you get it live?
No, you can get the audio recording afterwards. So I'm going to buy the May 1st one. I'll certainly buy the May 12th one. I learned that from Constance Key from Westport. They're fighting the same fight down in Westport because they're now really coming back to Westport, saying maybe after all we'll come in on what's that beach, Horseneck Beach, and go up the Westport River and into Westport. And she calls me and she wants to know the latest scoop about what's happening here because they're afraid they're going to go there. But oh,
A lot going on. Thank you
Yeah.
again for,
yeah.
Well, Peter, back to the speed mitigation, otherwise,
Yeah.
we've got speed bumps raised, partition, whatever there. When was the last time that gentleman was here? Was it about? I'm just wrapped my head around
Griffin?
the timeframes for accountability's sake, so we can prepare for this meeting. Because it was about a year or two ago, wasn't it?
Like John, I think it was at least a year ago.
Yeah.
And what was the status then? They were getting funding or,
It had to be in the budget. It was gonna be, I thought it was gonna be this fall, it was gonna be the Saturday, but obviously it's not.
It was supposed to be in last year's budget, didn't make the cut. So the next budget starts in July, so before, fall and winter and spring. So hopefully we'll get on that and that's also, we're talking about the sidewalks on East Bay Road too, so it's like something will happen on that, but I'm not so sure. They're trying to cut back, seriously cut back on some of their expenditures, considering the sewage costs. So we'll see.
Is there any way that they would consider a 1-year moratorium on sewage if I think fiscal year 28, would it be? To just kind of pause, do what they pay for, but I mean, it just seems to me that the budget is so stressed.
Yeah, not that I suppose. So they're, doing big bosses of that.
Yeah, they're ruining Bumps River Road. What a mess. Right, guys? They live What?
That's right.
It's a beautiful country road and I live right off it, as do those two, and it's awful right now. It's really
you
awful.
speak that low.
Yeah.
Plus.
Remember Craigville Beach Road? It was like the tilt-a-whirl.
Oh, God.
For like a year.
But are these speed, is it just speed bumps or is there other mitigation measures they're considering?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other things to do with striping, narrowing of lanes. And a whole bunch of other things I see as I travel throughout New England over the years and, it's like, just focus on the bumps. Great lanes.
I think they're gonna be like in downtown.
Yeah, well, Bill was for those work.
Right.
They can't
They
even,
do slow the traffic, which is the key.
they can't even fill the potholes, right now.
Traffic cones in the potholes.
They put, yeah, we caught, everybody on our street called, they came and put orange cones in them. They've been sitting there for what, a month?
Oh, easily.
More than that. I just don't, I
When I first done.
I think they're
When in
waiting.
doubt, put a cone.
Yeah.
oh. I don't know.
Anyone else for public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Linda Bolliger. I'm from Starboard Lane
Yes.
and I'm here representing NAN, neighbors advocating, neighbors in need. many of you have already heard about the controversy over the relocation of the Winter Street homeless shelter to 460 West Main Street. MAN is a coalition of residents and small businesses all along West Main Street, which this relocation will greatly impact. So we're going to be at tomorrow night's school committee meeting. One of the major issues for this relocation is the fact that this homeless shelter, which has been a problem at Winter Street, is being transposed to West Main and within 155 yards of Hyannis West Elementary School, as well as 3 other schools. So we will be at the school committee meeting tomorrow night at 5:30, and we're asking the community of Osterville. I'm from Osterville. We're asking every village to take this on because many of the students who are in that neighborhood, as you may imagine, are immigrants, and they're keeping their heads down. They need us to take on their voice. And I'm asking all of you to please attend and please voice your opinions on this, because this is an important townwide issue. It is not just a Hyannis issue. Thank you. I didn't plan on having a presentation on this or anything. I just wanted to come and speak as an Osterville resident in support of this.
Good.
I really appreciate your coming here. I think we've talked in the past about, what happens in Hyannis is something we all need to care about, it's public safety and everything else. I just wanted to say I've listened, and I'm not going to recall his last name, Rick from your organization.
Yes,
He's
he's a chief advocate. Yes.
He is the opposite of a NIMBY.
Right.
Because when he explains, he's sort of deep on the issue of actually caring for the homeless, and explains so in such a caring way about how what you say about the schools. A corresponding issue is that the shelter releases folks at, 7 o'clock in the morning.
7 a.m. They're
With nowhere to go.
They're expected to wander.
What is the purpose of that?
They want, because it's a temporary, according to him, overnight shelter.
Well, it's more than that.
Okay.
It's because of state,
Why 7? I don't know.
it's because of state funding. This is one of the few state funded homeless shelters, and it's called an emergency shelter though, because people are line up at 3:30, 4 o'clock. They come in, no one is screened, everyone is accepted. So it's a draw for the worst of the worst to show up here in Hyannis and get it in.
It's regional,
Get
it's
it
not
in.
just town, correct?
It's the Cape.
Unfortunately,
Oh.
yes.
They're
No,
peddling it
actually,
as a
it's
regional, but they told-
beyond the Cape.
Now, that, I joined Nan, but I want to know, you think that this is beyond the Cape? Because what I've heard was it was a shelter for all of the homeless people in need on Cape Cod.
But
So,
if you look at the individuals who are coming, there have been people from other states and other countries
Wow.
who've actually showed up. It's a model,
They don't
the
get
state
screened.
funded homeless shelter model is completely flawed.
wow.
And we're pushing for them to get rid of the dependence on state funding and do what other really model homeless shelters have done throughout Massachusetts. And we're looking actually at foreign country models as well. That you can't have an emergency shelter where you're not screening people and just throwing them out in the streets basically at 7 in the morning. The situation in Winter Street, many of you could just go out on Google and find out how many, what the crime statistics are there. They're horrendous.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous. No one would want to ever live anywhere near what's going on in Winter Street. And of course, it's been decades that, the businesses along Main Street and Hyannis have been complaining about. And unfortunately,
It doesn't make any sense.
the merchants, on West Main, don't have that cloud. They don't serve, primarily, tourists. It's for all of us who are year-round residents.
Well, there is, I mean, it's right across from Steve and Sue's, Party Freeze, I mean,
And they're,
you know what? When I drive through there after 7, you see high schoolers, elementary kids, up and down those streets all the time on their bicycles, on foot, in groups. And it's just, it seems to me, and these folks are being asked to leave their drugs outside of the shelter. So I mean, I sound paranoid, but what do you do with your drugs? Where do you stash your
I'll tell you
drugs?
what they're doing now.
Yeah,
They're stashing them throughout the vicinity
see,
of,
that's what I'm worried
of
about.
Winter Street.
That's what I'm worried about.
So, that's gonna happen,
There,
in that neighborhood. And there are residents, there are homes around there as well. Yes.
So what is it that you're asking the school committee to do? Are you asking them to take a position on it?
Well, their position has been, they, were sort of a hands-off situation. They wanted their attorney to sort of come up with something, but the attorney has not. So, we're sort of want to force the issue and say, the school committee should be concerned about the safety of the kids. I mean, that should be number one, and they should come out, and say it.
And who is it that owns the shelter?
Housing Assistance Corporation,
I'm
Housing
Hack.
Assistance.
Housing Assistance, HAC Hack.
Correct,
And so Hack has made the decision to move it from Winter Street to West Main?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this gonna be located in their facility that's on West Main?
Correct,
Across-
460.
Across the golf course, the golf? course?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. How are they? Are they building a structure? Are they adding
No,
on?
they're going to be renovating the current structure.
I'm gonna read about it.
They had taken a $3 million ARPA grant and
Yeah.
bought out 2 other partners in the real estate.
And then they're going around, some of you just let me know, they're going around to every town on the Cape asking for CPC funds.
$100,000.
Community housing. A couple of law firms that advise municipalities have said overnight emergency shelter isn't housing. And they've said no, but others are saying this. I think you just said how are folks gonna get around. There was a meeting in Bourne and HAC's general counsel said, or maybe their money person said, we could Uber that to Hyannis.
Oh, jeez.
Right. So there's a lot of issues, but I just really want to commend you and Nan for the way you're addressing this issue, just so sort of comprehensively and smartly. I think you have a website.
You do, it's NanCapeCod.com, and that's NANN. And please sign up, we'll keep you informed of, everything that we're up to. We're a small group, but we are so committed to this show.
Were there any alternative sites thought of? Or?
Yeah, well, they had talked about another hack property over, I believe, in Independence Drive, which would have kept them after the chip place.
Where?
Independence.
Oh, Independence Drive, yeah.
Yeah.
Put everything, take over Cape Cod potato chips.
They initially looked at the old W.E. Mason building.
Yeah. So there've been a couple of iterations.
But maybe the answer is the model's not right? Because there's that other organization called Homeless Not Helpless.
Yeah,
That has, properties all over that no one has a beef with because they operate them.
People don't even know they exist.
Right,
Which
right.
is, they're way more stricter than.
well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
And
yeah.
that's because they do not take any state funding.
Yeah.
They're all donation based. And that's the model that we want to look at, because the ones that are really well managed, They're small, usually small facilities.
Yeah.
And they actually help people get out of
Get back.
homelessness.
It doesn't do anything for them.
No, it does nothing. They're like, it's a quality of life.
It's correction,
Oh, yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Is there any education connected to it or?
I mean, they have some, what sounds like adult daycare, or they do arts and crafts.
Aren't they playing a religious angle and that's what allows them to,
Well, it all revolves around the Dover Amendment.
yeah, Dover, the
and,
Dover Amendment, because it's
yeah.
Catholic Charities running it.
Yes.
And so it's a religious organization.
However, they're taking state money, which excludes them from, any religious, proselytizing or whatever.
Before I heard of you, I had read that there were some rather questionable, issues surrounding the acquisition of this $3 million and what they're using it for. And, the school committee is not going to care about that, but that seems to me to be, something that could really raise a lot of interest into what's, the way this is
Could
being
the
done.
town halt the permitting and,
Huh?
could the town halt the permitting and,
They,
No.
no?
Well, we filed an appeal to the building permit.
Oh,
And,
good.
so that is
Slow it
pending.
down.
Yeah, we have, taken on, legal counsel to do that, and, so we'll see where that takes us. That's sort of step one.
John, I thought that whole West Main corridor was part of the business development, it's great
Exactly.
section. Improvement and trying to build that area up, whatever, where's the bit of conflict there, isn't there?
No, town.
Is that the case? And
Yeah, the town is involved in leading that at this point. And, yeah,
I've never, went before the town
No.
council for this. When they needed a letter, I read this and then I looked at it to confirm it. When they needed a letter from the town in a program to get more money from the state, they, submitted the letter that one councilor wrote, not the town. And they've really, if you watch any town, there's no agenda that they've ever been on, and they're avoiding mercy.
And of course, that was a controversy in and of itself,
right,
that this counselor made it sound like the entire town council had blessed this enterprise. We talked about that.
yeah, and that was
The
one of
last
the
time.
criteria for it getting approved by the state. In that they had the sign off from the town council. So they snuck this letter in for one of our counselors. And said, "Oh, well, that works." And so we had back and forth about that, so. There's a lot of issues involved in what went on with the acquisition of these properties and where the money came from, where it went. And that's something that'll be coming up, I think, fairly soon. That the public will know a lot more about shenanigans that on moving this shelter.
Are you going before town council and doing the 3-minute thing?
Petition right now.
What's
We have a petition, that we're putting out so that we will have, a public meeting with town officials.
I guess what I meant was the public comment portion of town council meetings.
Yes, and people are showing up because obviously it's been in the news
Yeah.
now. So,
Yeah,
yes, people are showing up.
yeah.
But we need something far more than just, 3 minutes in front of.
Well, let me say this, I think the populace needs to be made aware of all the different issues. And I have been before the town council many, many times for my 3 minutes. And what I have discovered is you need to write it, practice it, time it, and it's incredibly effective because John's wonderful. Sometimes, the council or some councilors will roll their eyes, but you're informing the people of Barnstable of what's going on. So I would encourage you to think about going, even put a string of 10 people up there. They each take 3 minutes in a carefully crafted statement and address all these issues.
I agree, I've seen those signs on West Main Street, stop and shelter, whatever they say.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it referred to, I assumed that there's a shelter going out there somewhere, but I didn't know that it was what the specific issue was. So it's very important, I think, that the work that you're doing coming here tonight and these other village associations, will also be good venues for you to address, because for my part, I think I'm a good example. I really don't know, but didn't know until tonight what the issue is. Very important to educate it, Paul.
Thank you. I really appreciate the feedback, because we're all new at this. And,
We were new at fighting offshore wind.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I actually, I wanted to say, I grew up in Miami, and, I went all in elementary school there. Hyannis was a village, was a true Cape Cod village when I grew up there. And it's just a tragedy. When I work there every day, I go to Hyannis every day, but when I look around, when I see what's happening to it, I mean, it was pretty much, being destroyed years ago, but now the destruction is really accelerating. And, when I say that, I mean, it's tragic to see all this multifamily housing everywhere. And these massive structures that are just, they're not even, of any, they have no architectural appeal, they have no, they just these massive monolithic things they're building on East Main Street, and there's one right behind me that's going up, it's on, right near,
Stevens?
Stevens Street.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's just enormous,
it's,
and,
I believe that's
it's,
another hack.
and it's,
They're all hack property.
yeah, it's gonna bring an enormous congestion and traffic, more so than what we've seen, over the years in Hyannis. I don't know, right now, it's, I was thinking about that, I had to go to Boston this morning. And when you drive from Main Street of Hyannis to the exit, I think you go through 10 traffic lights. And, I hate to sound, nostalgic, but when I grew up, there was only one traffic light in Hyannis. In fact, it was the only traffic light on Cape Cod, and it's true. And the driving classes from down Cape
I remember that.
would come to Hyannis. It's absolutely true. To practice on a traffic light, on Ocean Street and Main Street, the only traffic light we had. And, I know things change, things don't stay the same, but it takes you almost 20 minutes to go from Main Street to get on the exit and get to Boston. You've got to add that on your trip, because of the traffic and the congestion, to get out there. It's just incredible.
Summer traffic's not even hitting.
Yes,
Well, red, yellow, green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's not.
But anyway, I don't know what the value of that is, to say that, there's been significant changes, and, it's a tragedy to see these homeless. I mean, it's a terrible problem, and I don't know what the solutions are for that problem, and it's a real problem. Every city is plagued by it, and that's what Hyannis has been turned into a city, and a lot of that over the years was almost by design, because the zoning at that time over the years was put all multifamily housing in Hyannis. And, and we have multifamily housing here too, but a different caliber than what we find, in the village of Hyannis. And it really resulted, I think, in the destruction of Hyannis as a village, and turned it into a city, helped to turn it into a city with all the urban problems. I mean, I've left my office a couple of times, and there are homeless guys are bedding down, because we have a sidewalk in this building with overhangs, a little bit of a shelter, and they're bedding down in their sleeping bags in the sidewalk. I've called the police, a number of times, so you got a couple of customers out here, 540 Main, and I'm imagining must have been roused them out of there, but and in fact, they were living in the building. There's a big storage center in the basement of the building, it's the old Sears building, and
Oh.
they was a big storage facility out there with a bathroom, and so they would gain access, because sometimes the front door is left open, the front doors, individual offices are locked, and there was a beautiful bathroom upstairs. It was almost like being in, Oyster Harbor, the bathroom was so beautiful. Yes, I even thought it was like private golf course when I go up there. And now one day I went there, it's all locked, and because there were several of them were living in the building. They had a beautiful bathroom upstairs and they used during the night, they had bedded down the storage facility. So huge down there. It's just an ongoing continuous problem. And
I think the question has been for such a long time, why has Hyannis been such a draw? For businesses? And I think you have to look at the fact that you have a shelter, which there's no screening, they take anybody, and that's unfortunately going to draw people. Now, that doesn't mean that these people need help. We all agree on that.
I think like everybody.
Are there plans for any services at the West Main Street?
Well, there haven't been any at Winter Street.
Yeah.
And they're claiming now that there will be at the new facility, but again. Inherently, this shelter is problematic.
Yeah.
We know that. And as I said before, the children of immigrants are going to be affected more in this new location. And I think we all have to take up the cause.
I want to give a shout out to West Main too, because there are some new businesses there that have really tried to liven it up. And to tell you the truth, I think it's wrong to think that the summer visitors don't go there. I mean, Stephen Sue's is like the center of a lot of activity. You've got the brewing company, you've got the the trailer that does the barbecue. You've got, the Country Gardens is there. You've got the new Brazilian butchery is there. I mean, there are lots of vibrant businesses there. And people are not gonna wanna go there if they're, people who have drug and alcohol problems sleeping on the sidewalk during the day because they have nowhere to go. And it's a stupid place to put this thing. Independence Drive makes so much more sense. I don't know. I do, my heart does hurt for people who are struggling the way these folks do, but it's not the place to put this.
Well, it's also not, you have to come up with better ways to help them.
Yes, that model is wrong.
A
Yeah.
home for,
Yeah.
with just a bed is not the answer.
Just two quick things, just on the zoning thing. I just want to credit this town council because the form of zoning that has led to those big monster look like horrible looking buildings. That was in a version of that was in the local comprehensive plan and our housing production plan drafts from our planning department. Before this town council pulled those out, and it was slated for Osterville and Barnstable Village. So, just credit to folks for dialing that back, because it can happen when people aren't looking, and that's what having a finance. But the second thing I want to say is you're hearing tons of interest here. I think when you get to a place where you might be going before the council or you have a specific ask, I would say, come on back and maybe we can do a resolution to support man.
I promise
And
I
send
will
it
be
in.
back. I promise I will be back with a real presentation. But, and I do appreciate all of your feedback. I really do.
thank you for coming in and sharing that.
Bill, did you have any comments?
No, well, the one comment I had, I saw in the Centerville that, do you have a, voting meeting tomorrow night at the fire station?
Oh, we'll meet at the fire station.
For the commissioners?
Yeah. And
The supervisory.
Yeah, I think it's the board, yeah, it's not the vote. I can check back with the bill, it's not the vote, it's not the annual.
When do we vote?
Centerville's, announcement said that it was, and that you and others were up for election.
I'm gonna have to get back to you, Bill, on that, I'll email
No,
you.
that's, okay, not for me, but for other people, there, because unfortunately I'm still down south now. But I enjoy
That's
it.
a great reminder, Bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not tomorrow, but I'll get back to you, Bill.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll send you the email from Centerville. I attend over there relative to taking interest for the Craigville Beach Club. And so they send me all the announcements.
Okay, appreciate it.
It
Thank you.
a good meeting. It was good to be updated by the Cape, the winds in Craigville Beach, etc. That was a surprise to me that it was active.
It's Monday, May 18th. Polls open 8 AM to 7 PM, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, any other public comment? Seeing none, with this motion to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming here.